Is it possible that in the future resumes could be going away? Now, probably not entirely, but at least being de emphasized fairly significantly by the time Gen Alpha gets into the workforce. Now, obviously, it is a few years away, but there are some people who think that resumes could become extinct like the dinosaurs. So, what would that even look like? And if not a resume, how are you supposed to get hired? Well, we're going to cover that in this video. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brian. I'm a corporate recruiter and a career strategist, and I've made it my mission to demystify how hiring works at major corporations. So if this kind of content interests you, maybe hit that subscribe button. You may also want to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. So if you think about it, the hiring process is entirely dependent on a piece of paper that tells employers everything that you've ever done in your career. At least that's how most people approach their resumes. The problem is if you don't have exactly what it is that they're looking for, you're likely to be bounced before they even get to page 2. This is a source of great frustration for job seekers, but the reality is most recruiters only give you about 5 seconds of glance in order to determine whether or not you fit the job description or you don't. And that's particularly maddening if you actually have the goods, but you maybe just stink at writing resumes and marketing yourself. Well, in the not so distant future, you may not have to worry about it as much because there's more and more employers starting to embrace skill-based hiring over experience-based hiring.
Like nunchuck skills, bow hunting skills, computer hacking skills.
How hiring has been traditionally done is something you're probably well familiar with. There's a job posting that goes up, you fill out an application, attach a resume, and then you hope for the best. The problem is that employers are so inundated with resumes that are just not well aligned to the job, and recruiters are moving very rapidly through candidate pools, trying to find people who match very specific keywords or concepts that the employer is looking for. And depending on the timing of when you apply and how well your resume is written, there is a degree of luck associated with getting seen, getting into the interview process, and then ultimately getting hired. Now, it's not just the employee who is having the problem with this. It's actually employers as well who are finding that they're not necessarily hiring the best people. In fact, according to a recent survey done by Test Gorilla of over 1,000 job seekers and employers, they found that 86% of US-based employers are having issues with resumes in regard to the hiring process. Job seekers at the same time are also having issues with their resumes. They're struggling writing resumes, and 56% of them are saying that they're having a difficult time translating their experience into something workable in a resume that's likely to get them seen. So one of the potential solutions that more and more employers are starting to embrace is skill-based hiring. And they do this primarily through assessments. And I'm sure if you've done any job search, you're familiar with these, where you apply for a position, then you're asked to complete a couple of 45-minute personality profiles, which ask you a bunch of random weird questions that you're sitting there scratching your head wondering how these at all predict what kind of employee you would be. Now, there's teams of psychologists and data scientists who are analyzing all this data, and somehow they say they predict success on jobs and all this kind of stuff. And in fact, I have my own opinion on assessments at the application level. Personally, I feel that they waste a lot of people's time. You're asking every single candidate to go through a 45-minute to an hour and a half assessment, and you're still likely only selecting 5 to 10 people to talk to. So you're basically wasting everybody else's time. So there's a double-edged sword there. The skills-based assessment basically tells them that you're able to do the job and that you could fit in with the employer and all this kind of stuff. But you got to go through the pain of actually completing the assessment. Whereas a resume can say really whatever it wants to. The employer actually has to see it. And if you don't know how to write a good resume, you're likely going to get rejected for jobs, even though you may be a really good fit. But regardless, there is a trend that more and more employers are starting to look at actual skills as a predictor of success rather than what your background is. So all those years of experience might go out the door in favor of somebody who actually tests better than you. Now, that can be a good thing, but it can also be a negative thing as well. The good news is if you actually have the ability to do the job and do it well, you're likely to pull into a short list of candidates. It means you're going to get seen, even if your resume isn't written perfectly. But the bad news is if you have all these years of experience, it may not help you get hired, because a person who could come in in theory, with 6 months or a year of experience could be trumping the person who's been in the role for 10 plus years, because they test better. And I kind of think of it from my perspective. I'm actually in the process of hiring somebody to do some web development work. And so we are assessing resumes right now. But ultimately, when I'm assessing these resumes, I don't care what your resume even says. In fact, in most cases, I'm not even looking at your resume. Maybe I'll glance at it, but the number one most important thing to me is demonstrated competency. I don't care if you have 1 year of experience or you have 50 years of experience. Ultimately, what matters to me is can you produce the good results? So portfolio for me in this case, for this particular job type, is going to be the number one. If your portfolio doesn't clearly show a level of competency in what I'm looking for, then there's no point in me even reading your resume. And in fact, I don't really care what your resume has to say. So in a very real sense, for me, it's all about the demonstrated skill rather than the experience. You could be very experienced, but still stink at your job. Whereas you can be very inexperienced, maybe you don't even have any relevant work experience, but you've just crushed it in your studies or in your education, and you've created a portfolio of pet projects that really shows strong capabilities. And in fact, I have seen a few portfolios from people who are still in school, have never graduated yet, that have stronger bodies of work than people who've been in industry for 15 or 20 years. And I'm talking about people who've worked at major alpha employers that you've all heard of. So for me, the bottom line is do you have the ability to do the job? And I want to see demonstrated results of it. Now, obviously, if it turns into a full-time converted role, I'm probably going to want to assess other things than just the technical skills. How do you fit in with the team? What's your idea of corporate culture? How do you approach work? What's your work ethic? Those are the kinds of things that would probably be more important to me long term. But strictly based on what I'm trying to accomplish right now, skill is going to be the number one thing. Skills-based assessments are great up to a certain point, but there still needs to be that one-on-one interaction. Your experience does count for something. And you have to go through the interview process and really understand what it is that they're looking for, and then demonstrate that you actually have the ability and you can market yourself correctly. And frankly, where the market's heading is probably consistent with the whole point. Skills-based assessments can be more important. 85% of the surveyed respondents said that they are adopting some level of skill assessment over experience assessment. So that means you're probably going to find more and more of these personality profiles, these technical skills assessments, in addition to your application. Now, again, from a job search perspective, it's really pretty frustrating because now you're going to have to spend more time in the application process, but it might be to your benefit if you actually have the technical skills. And this is going to be mostly beneficial to the person who is maybe not all that experienced, but is very capable and very competent. This is the chance for those people to actually get seen. Well, we also look at how AI is screening out people right now. Keywords are a thing, and it can assess resumes, put you into different buckets really quickly. Skills-based assessment kind of does the same thing. You have to score a certain amount. If you don't hit a certain threshold, it's likely that the hiring team's not even going to see you. So we're already dealing with a lot of automated kickouts. Skills-based assessments probably not going to be a whole lot different. But the thing that employers are looking at is at least the bucket of candidates I've got, I know can actually do the work that I'm looking for. So that's where the job market's starting to fall off. Now, for the record, I don't think that we're going to be seeing the end of resumes anytime in my career, at least. But I do think that there's going to be more of a blend and more of an emphasis on the skills-based portion of things. So if it's me, what I'm going to try to do is demonstrate my experience in a skill-based fashion. In other words, demonstrating it in the ways that I can. So if you're somebody that's in the design space, you're somebody that's in the software engineering space, you're somebody that is in a creative space where you can actually show your work in action, you need to have a really strong portfolio of work. Demonstrate that you know what you're doing. And if you're somebody that is more in the thought, I guess you call it like the thought leader space, maybe it's more like a like data analysis or something, put together some sort of a receptacle of knowledge, a personal brand, if you will. And that way you too can also show that you have the technical skills to do the job. I'll be continuing to pay attention to how this evolves in the marketplace, but I do think that this is a really interesting concept. And I'm wondering, if you're watching this video, what do you prefer? The skills-based assessment, or do you prefer the experience-based assessments? Which ones do you think are better? Or do you think that a blend of the two? And if you're applying for a lot of these jobs, how do you feel about filling out these long assessments, even if it means that you might have a higher likelihood of getting the job? Now, if you're somebody struggling in a job search, you still have to have a good resume. That's not going to go away anytime in the near future. And that's actually something I specialize in. I have a website called alifeafterlayoff.com. It's loaded with tips and tricks, all from an insider's perspective. And I teach people how to navigate the hiring processes with a lot of strategy. Obviously, the first one's going to be how to write a resume. So if you're struggling with that, I do have a course called Resume Rocket Fuel, which goes into a lot of detail and depth on exactly how to write a resume that's likely to get the recruiter to see your skill as clearly and cleanly as possible. I also offer deep job search training. The Ultimate Job Seeker Bootcamp walks through each round of the interview process, the job search process as a whole. We talk about assessments. We talk about how to approach your job search strategically so that each round, once you actually get into the interviewing process, that you're giving yourself the best opportunity to actually get the phone to ring, to get hired, to get the job offer. And of course, building your brand. The resume is going to be important, but personal branding and networking is going to be crucial going forward. So if you don't have any definable brand today, that's something that you need to really start working on. And I've created a course called Unlocking LinkedIn, which teaches you how to approach networking and to start your branding journey. So if you're struggling with that, you don't know where to begin, I go into great detail there with that course. And for those of you who are looking for more individualized help, I do offer some limited one-on-one coaching, which you can reach me through my website as well. That's alifeafterlayoff.com. As always, appreciate you watching, and we'll see you on the next one.